Hey, what's up? I am your humble host, Fizz Ed Music, and this right here is Urban Politics, where politics lives. I want to thank you all for liking and subscribing. I want to get right into it like a car and drive because there's all types of tasty politics to talk about today. So let's get it going. Let me go over here to page 1. I want to be in order with that politics. All right. In Texas, Democrats walk out to stop votes on a voter suppression bill. Basically a bill that's going to suppress a lot of votes, a lot of minority votes. Democrats had a long list of objections to the bill. They made a speech, then they left. And since there were not enough lawmakers present to continue, they were 14 short of the 100 that they needed. They had to adjourn at 11 p.m. and effectively that killed the bill. Now, this is an example of Democrats working together because Republicans are on some madness. They're on some foolishness. This bill in Texas is ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. It's very blatantly racist. And if I'm sure that a lot of you you got the internet and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. If you've been listening to this show, you're on that. Check out some stuff on there. It shows the young white gentleman who brings all these things up, and he really holds their feet to the fire. And the Republican gentleman has no answers for this stuff because they know it's racist. It's blatantly racist, and he couldn't even defend it. There's no defense for it. So moving on. Yeah, they were 14 short of the 100 that they needed to pass it. So effectively, that killed the bill since these Democrats, had the cojones to walk out on that meeting. That killed the bill. And that's what needed to be done because this bill needed to be killed. Chris Turner, the Democratic Party chair in the House, sent all the Democrats a text saying, "Members, take your key and leave the chamber discreetly. Do not go to the gallery. Leave the building." I love that. Told them take their key and leave discreetly. That's how you do it. No need for fanfare. No need to raise a fuss. We already did a speech. They know where we stand. We know that they know that we know that they are racist, doing some racist stuff. So we just gonna leave. We just won't take part in this vote at all. That's Democrats sticking together. Let me tell you something. If our Democrats on Capitol Hill could do this, we probably would have seen that $15 an hour minimum wage increase. You know what I'm saying? If they could do this, there'd be a lot of stuff to be passing right now that's not passing because you still have Mitch McConnell and some Democrats, Joe Manchin, what's her name, Kirsten Sinema, some of them guys and gals still acting real stupid and not showing solidarity, But if they could come together, if they could galvanize like these Democrats in Texas, we could see some of the things that the American people need. But since they can't do it in Washington, they can't do it in D.C., they can't do it on Capitol Hill, thank God that in Texas, they were able to do it. And Chris Turner, man, he said, leave discreetly. Don't say anything. We spoke our piece. They know what's good. They know what's hood. We're out. We're out. You know what I'm saying? We're taking our ball and going home. Not going to play your little reindeer games. So that right there, that shows solidarity. I tip my hat to those Democrats in Texas, man. They know what's up. Some of the things that this bill in Texas did, some of the things that show you was just blatantly and outright racist. It restricted Sunday voting to after 1 p.m. And it made voting by mail harder. Now, number one, it restricted that voting on Sunday to 1 p.m. That right there is because of souls to the polls. And I'm sure you heard of it in the news. They talk about it all the time. How on the Sunday before voting, black churches would get their congregations together. And after service, they go directly to the polls to vote. Probably casting Democratic votes. And that's what some of these guys and gals who rep the R in Texas don't want. So right there, they say, you know what? We're going to restrict that. We're going to say on a Sunday, you can't even vote until after 1 p.m. That's stupid. But they did that in an effort to stop souls to the polls. Now, I would hope and pray that men and women who rep the D, who are Democrats, would get hip to these games and be like, oh, well, if they restricting the vote from 1 to 7, we'll just make sure that we're there with bells on to vote from 1 to 7. But we'll see what happens. Republicans play these games all the time because they know, you know what? I've heard the joke all the time. This is something about a Republican will get up from the grave to vote. And I thought that was them saying that Republicans take voting that seriously. But really, that person's going to be like, nah, they're making a joke of saying how they have dead people voting and not necessarily the Democrats who have dead people voting. Both sides swear that the other side has dead people voting and people who haven't, lived in that state for years voting in that state and all this other crap or whatever. The numbers just show we had the safest election on record, so both sides need to kill the madness. Obviously, the side that's really on it right now is the Republican side. They need to grow up and, you know what I'm saying, and just receive what it is. And what it is that they lost. And, their standard bearer, he's the number one who just needs to raise his hands and receive it from the Lord. You lost. You lost. You lost. You lost. You lost. Sometimes you lose. That's life. Okay, sometimes you're a winner, sometimes you're a loser. There's a lot to learn from a loss. I went on record on this show as telling people all the time, there's more to learn from a loss than there is from a win. If you have a win, then you mastered that situation, right? You don't have anything to learn there. But if you lose, you lost. Somewhere you dropped the ball. There's tons to learn here so that you don't lose again. But the GOP, they're of the mind that forget that. We're just going to stop minorities, stop the elderly, stop LGBTQ community, stop those people from voting. Ergo, we don't have to prove our argument. We don't have to do anything but just keep stealing elections. Anyway, moving on. The Democrats stuck together. That was good. They took out all of the people of color and women quoted in the original bill. So you'll see him on the internet, and he asked the guy, he said, look, he said, did y'all take out wording in here from, I think, I think there was some stuff in there from W.E.B. Du Bois. I think there was stuff in there from the lady on women's suffrage. Not Ida B. Wells, but she was about women's suffrage too in the women's movement. But the white woman who who headed up the women's movement, she had some stuff in there too. They took all that out. They took any language that was people of color or women out of the bill. That ain't racist. That ain't racist. And there was a lot of them. There were a lot of, different people of color and different women who had added to that bill and added different quotes and stuff that were saying how important and needed, some of this stuff was. And that was the one that the House sent over. They sent that over to the Senate. By the time that Republican Senate got it, they reshaped that bill and reformed it to where the only thing that was quoted in there was white men. And I like the fact that it was a young white man who stood up and said, hey, man, cut the games. And he even told him too, he said, I know these are hard questions to answer, but you need to answer them. And he told him too, he said, I've only been here a year or two, but I know that questions come from this side, answers come from that side. Woo-wee. What he said. And that's when the older white gentleman, he didn't like that. But he kept it real. I'll tell you, this younger generation, they're on it. That's what he told him. He said, I've been here a short time. I haven't been here that long, sir. He said, but I've been here long enough to know that questions come from this side, answers come from that side. That's what's up, man. So that was amazing. If you haven't seen that, go on TikTok, go on YouTube, go wherever your little fingers will take you. Put that in there, what's going on in Texas, and you will be entertained and dismayed, as I was. Anyway, moving on. Ally Bank got rid of overdraft fees, citing unfairness to minorities. I had to make a note of that because that right there is big. Now, if you do not know what an overdraft fee is, let me explain it to you. Because unfortunately, I succumbed to the overdraft fee plenty of times in my life. And you know what? Here's what's crazy. You could overdraft by as little as 18 cents and get hit with an overdraft fee. So whenever you overdraft, you went over your account, which you wouldn't think the bank would let you do anyway, but I guess they call themselves giving you freedom or whatever. Now, some banks, I think it's Chase, they'll give you an alert and let you know if your account is about to be overdrawn. And that's cool because then that way you can maybe transfer some funds electronically over your phone or whatever, or physically go to the bank and put some funds in your account so it doesn't overdraft. They're giving you a heads up. But a lot of banks will let you overdraft because that fee is tasty. Now, I know at the bank I bank with, I'm not going to say no names, don't want to put nobody on blast, but their overdraft fee is $35 a day, right? So let's say it's and this has happened to me, unfortunately. This is why I got mobile banking. I didn't have it before, I have it now. Why? Because of this. Let's say you overdraft, you don't even know you overdraft by $1 or $2. You went to Family Dollar, you bought some stupid arbitrary stuff, you overdraft by $1 or $2. Now you owe that $1 or $2 plus another $35 fee that accrues every day until you pay it, right? So what happened in my scenario is that happened on Monday. By the time Friday came and I got paid, I had over $100 in overdraft fees. So when I got paid, they took that $150 off rip. So that's money I lost. Why? Because I wasn't hip to the fact that A, I had overdraft, and then B, that they hit me with that charge every day. That it was overdraft is $35, $35, right? So Ally Bank said they're going to get rid of that. And they said that it unfairly targets minorities. I know it targeted me, and I'm a minority. So I guess there's something to that. Oh, well, I was happy to see that. One, really just for the unfairness to minorities. Since when does Ally Bank care about minorities? That blew me away. And if that's what they say they're doing it for, I have to believe that, right? And I'm like I said, hey, I've been affected negatively by that, so that's what's up. So hats off to them. That's huge right there. That's huge. So I thought they deserved an honorable mention, if you will, for that. So I guess if you got some banking you want to do, especially a checking account, you might want to holler at your guys and gals over there at Ally Bank, because they ain't tripping off of no overdraft fees. Now, Ally, they spell their name L-L-L-Y, right? There was a guy on TikTok, and he was talking about, as a white gentleman, and he was talking about how he said, I'm not going by that term ally anymore. I don't like that. He said, I'm not an ally, but if you need a friend of the movement, he said, if you need somebody to, what did he say? He said to be in your house when people come around your house or whatever. He said to look at it because you're selling it, and to make sure the property values don't go down, or they try to give you a lower rating because they think black people live here. If you need me to do that, or any other way you need me to use my privilege to help your black self, I'll do that. He said, but I'm no longer an ally. And I thought to myself, I was like, Now, I'm not going to lie. Whenever I heard the term ally, and you usually hear it as white people who are allies of the BLM, Black Lives Matter movement, or you hear all the time people who are allies of the LGBTQ movement. I've even heard Macklemore. He referred to himself as an ally of the LGBTQ community. And there's something about that term ally, I'm not going to lie, it always hit my ear wrong. I was like, I don't know if that's necessarily positive or what I'd want to go by, or even, I don't know if I wouldn't call myself that. I've never said that I'm an ally of such and such a movement. But here's why. And here's the reason why that white gentleman said, I'm not an ally, don't call me that. Check this out, the definition. Now, allies, A-L-L-I-E-S, same word, but I guess, this is the plural form of it. While they might appear as friends, they are not. They will work hard toward another person's interest as long as it also serves their own, giving the appearance of being a trusted confidant. That's problematic, isn't it? Think about that. So right there, they're saying, yeah, as long as they have the same interest as you, then they're cool with you, or an ally or a friend. But as soon as that interest changes or something changes, they're no longer an ally or a friend. That's garbage. So we should stop using that term. I don't like that term. I think it needs to go. Ally, don't tell me you're an ally of anything. Don't be an ally of mine because I'm black. Don't be an ally of the LGBTQ community, because that just tells me you're only in it because you think there's something in it for you, and that type of help don't nobody need. That's garbage help. What did they say? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Well, the enemy of your enemy is your friend only until there's no more enemy. Then your enemy becomes your enemy again. And now you done let them in because you were fighting with them against your friend. Do the knowledge of that garbage. That's a way for somebody to get in there and sabotage you. So allies, throw that out the window, man. That's a garbage term. Nah. You know what? We've always had, there's always been white activists. There have always been people who are not necessarily people of color who have been down with the movement, who have been friends of the movement. There was the Black Panthers. There were also the Brown Panthers. That were our Spanish brother and sisters who are out here who are also fighting, for black rights and black liberation and stuff like that. So we've always had that. Don't feel the need to throw a bootleg term at them like ally or allies. because that's not necessarily positive. You know, and I think as a white person or a person not of color, if somebody came to me and said, oh, so you're an ally? Are you an ally of the movement? I kind of be like, well, I know the definition of the term ally, and no, I'm a friend. You know what I'm saying? I'm a friend who's here to do what needs to be done. There it is. And that's enough. That's enough. We don't need no other terms on that. If you down with the cause, you're down with the cause. If you believe Black Lives Matter, whether you rolling with the Soros movement or them three lesbian sisters movement, or you just believe the phrase and you believe that there's truth in the phrase that Black Lives Matter, then roll on that. That's enough. That's enough. We don't need all this other ally crap and all that crap. Just be my friend and understand that I'm human like you, deserving of civil rights and respect. Moving on. Let's talk about my dude, one of the oldest millennials. That's what they call him, the oldest millennial. Bernie Sanders and Pramila Jayapal have introduced the College for All Act. It will help the $1.7 trillion of loan debt owed by millions of borrowers. I'm one of them. Put me in that. 1.7 trillion, some of that's mine. Not a whole bunch, but I do have college loans that are outstanding. Bernie Sanders said it will be the largest investment in federal education since the Higher Education Act of 1965. Things it would do. Here's some good stuff it'll do. Guaranteed tuition-free community college for all students. So that's for anybody who wants it. You call yourself being a student, that's tuition-free community college. Bernie Sanders was talking about that when he's trying to get the nomination for president. He didn't get the nomination, but he's still on that, trying to bring that to fruition. Hats off to him for that. Allow students from families that earn under $125,000 a year to attend public colleges and universities free of tuition and student loan debt. That includes HBCUs, and that's historically black colleges or universities. Bam! That's huge right there. That is huge right there. That's what's up. I feel like if you're a kid and your family makes under $125,000 a year, you should be able to go to some of these colleges for free. Why not? I talk to people from other countries. I'm not going to put any of these countries on blast, even though this is very positive. But they tell me, oh, this college is free in my country. They say, how about this? In my country, if you want higher education, you go to a building and you get it. Don't nobody charge you nothing. You just tell them you want the information and you show up to receive it and they give it to you. Free of charge. Why is that not going on here in America? Because there are people up here who don't necessarily want the average man or woman having a brain in their head. Trust reporters. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about the $10 billion in federal investment to help programs at underfunding institutions. That's big. It doubles the Max Pell Grant to $12,990 to students, and these students can use these funds for living expenses, books, housing, any of that. And I know before the Pell Grant, I think back in my day, you could only use the Pell Grant towards schooling. Because I got the Pell Grant. You know, even though I just went to Columbus State, I still got the Pell Grant. I think I got a Pell Grant and I got an OIG grant, and that covered all of Columbus State because it wasn't that much as community college, right? So, but I think that Pell Grant, you could only use it for education. That's it. You couldn't use it for books. Couldn't use it for housing. Now they're expanding that. You can use it for books. You can use it for housing. Huge. If you've ever went to college or you know somebody in college, you know that books is a huge expense. These companies who make these books, they make a new edition each year because they want to continue to get paid, and they don't even have new stuff to put in the books. You look at a 10th edition, you look at a first edition. It'll be the same book. There might be a few words, I'm telling you, literally a handful of words that are different. It's the same book, but they want you paying for that book because your money is what employs the people who make that book. So there's that. It's good that you can use these funds towards book. Housing, that's a major one. Not all kids have parents who are made of money so they can live on campus or live in a dorm or whatever and pay that rate. Some of these kids are going to have off-campus housing. Thank God that they can tap into this money to help with that need, right? So there's that. Makes the Dreamers eligible for the grant. The Dreamers. I've talked about them on this show. If you do not know who the Dreamers are those Hispanic young men and women who were brought over here when they were babies by no fault of their own. They broke the law. They were illegal immigrants because their parents brought them over here with them. But they've grown up over here in America. They are as American as you or I. Now they can access these funds as you and I can and did in my day. So that's huge too, and that's positive as well. They should be able to do that. Now let's talk about what's going on with some of this stuff that Bernie wants to do. 2/3 of Americans support some form of student loan forgiveness. I think I agree with them. We got to do this because you'll hear from the numbers here. Just 4 out of 10 think the entire debt should be canceled. So only 2/3 of Americans support some form of student forgiveness, which is crazy. You think it'd be all of them, but we're also going to talk about some reasons why some of them don't necessarily support it. And the fact that 4 in 10 think that the entire debt should be canceled, that's like 40% out of 100. I bet that's higher, but a lot of them are probably just afraid to go on record and keep it real and be like, hey, look, really, if we could, we should just cancel that whole debt, and we should, because like I said, if you go to other countries, getting a higher education is free. It should be free here in America, which is the wealthiest country in all of the world. I'm pretty sure, on paper, at least, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're the wealthiest country in the world. People talk about it all the time. Why are people paying for an education here? Yeah, something's going on with that, but that shouldn't be how it is. So it's good that they're trying to kind of sort of get rid of that. And here's the reason why you have those 4 out of 10 who think Here's why you have that 2/3 of Americans, only 2/3 of Americans who support the debt being absolved. Why? There's a fear programs that forgive college debt may hurt the feelings. Did you hear that? The feelings. I could not believe this article I read said that. Hurt the feelings of those people who pay off student loans and never took out a loan to pay for college. Like their frugality was being punished. What? Man, get out of here. What are we in this country? 3rd graders? What are you, 9, 10 years old? You salty because you got a college loan and you like, I never borrowed any money from the bank to pay that loan back. I never asked anybody. I pulled myself up from my bootstraps and I paid my college loan in and of myself and by myself. No one should ever get help on their college loan. That is so elitist. And I mean, you were just, this is a family show, so I can't even say how I feel about people who have that mentality. But I'm like, for real, man, first of all, stop worrying about everybody else, okay? If you were fortunate enough to pay off your college loans, well, bully for you. Bully for you. Praise God for that. That's awesome, man. Great. But most people are not in that situation. And why would you be mad or take offense that somebody could get that debt absolved or get some help on that and maybe have the same shot at life that you have? Maybe have the same shot at that small business that you have. This country is a trip. It's a trip to really have people out there who are pressed and upset at the fact that somebody else got some help that they didn't get. You didn't need it. How about this? I remember Barack Obama talking about how him and Michelle had just paid off their college debts. At the time I seen him speaking, he said, me and Michelle, maybe a year or two ago, not too long ago, we just paid off our college debts. And both of them graduated from Harvard. So that bill was bulky. And he said, we just paid it off, right? So, but if you went and asked him, are these good policies? Of course they are. They're democratic policies. And he'd be like, of course these people should get help if they can get it. If that help had been there for me and Michelle, we would have utilized it, we would have accessed it, and maybe got to our dreams a little quicker. If we can help other people get to their dreams a little faster, yes, let's do that. I'm not going to hold it against somebody because they weren't able to make a way to pay off this debt like I was able to do it. That's me. That's my situation. That's me as an individual. Why would I try and put that on everybody? So that's what a lot of these people need to get off of. I can't understand how you take offense to that. Be actually mad at the fact that somebody might actually get some help over here. How dare they get some help? I never got any help, so they shouldn't get any help. So it's sad that that's where we're at. They were also saying that, it may hurt people's feelings. Paid off their loans, never took out any money to do that. Before the pandemic, 1 in 4 loans was delinquent, and it's only gotten worse. So think about that. You know, 1 in every 4 loans was delinquent. It's only gotten worse. So I'd imagine now it's probably 4 in every 4 loans. I wouldn't say that. It's probably 3. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 2 in every 4 loans. Maybe even 3 in every 4 loans because, right? And you know what? How about this? I know people for a fact who have come and told me, hey, these college loans are killing me. I can't afford, to live anywhere. I can't afford to do anything. I can't afford to eat barely for paying back these student loans. You know what? And a lot of times they tell me, look, I'm just going to stop paying them. I'm just going to stop paying them. I don't have the money to pay them. And it seems like the more and more I pay them, the larger and larger they get. I worked with a young woman. She went to, I just put it on out and said already. I just put it on out there. She went to the Ohio State University, right? And she had told me how her student loan payment was $1,000 a month. And she had been making that payment consistently for a couple of years. But her debt didn't go down. What is that? How is it I owe y'all $10,000? I've been paying $1,000 a month for 3-4 years, yet I still owe y'all $10,000. Somebody over there is playing games. And I don't want to hear about accrued interest or none of that other garbage. Somebody over there is playing games. And people get sick of this type of stuff. Can't even live a normal life. Can't even live any type of life because they constantly calling you and ringing you saying that you owe this money and all this other stuff. You trying to get ahead in life. You can't get ahead in life. So, it's ridiculous. That is what it is. Moving on. Moving on. The American Civil Liberties Union and the American Psychological Association wrote in a letter to the White House on April saying, administrative department cancellation will deliver real progress on your racial equity, economic recovery, and COVID-19 relief campaign priorities. So basically, they're saying what I've been saying on this show. If they want poverty to stay down, we need to keep these programs going. We need to ramp these programs up. Definitely, if you want people to have some upward mobility in this country and be able to shake the monkey, so to speak, off their back, absolve some of this student loan debt. Why is there student loan debt anyway? This is a debt that you incurred trying to better yourself. That's why usually when you're trying to get a house or something like that, they don't use student loans against you. Now, I've heard that from people. That's what they told me when I was trying to get a house 8 million years ago. But that's probably a lie, too. That's probably not the case. This is America. They're going to hold anything against you that they can. But that right there is holding so many people back. So that definitely would help towards all this. If the administration, if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris claim that they're dedicated to reducing this poverty gap, that they're dedicated to making sure that children aren't in poverty anymore, you got the CTC credit. That's good, $300 a month. Find a way to make that permanent. And then let's get on this right here and absolve some of this student loan debt. I've talked about on this show how they said that Joe Biden could sign something to at least get rid of 10,000 of it. Hey, Mr. President, go on and do that. Now, I'm sure there's plenty of big business people in your ear saying don't do it. Man, have some cojones and do it. What are you president for? I think Lyndon B. Johnson said it best. What's the point of being president if you can't do something? If you can't change lives for the better, if you can't enact some change? I'm paraphrasing, but he said all that. Anyway, moving on. They were also saying that people report feeling trapped and thinking of suicide. That's what I was just talking about. They had a story on there of a young man who had a degree in teaching. He was supposed to be an English teacher, but he was working in some warehouse because he had got with a woman, had some kids back against the wall. He had bills to pay. Boom, he took this job in a warehouse, but he said he wanted to quit that job so that he could go back to school, get a little more schooling, and become a teacher like he always wanted to do. That was his dream. But he was saying that he didn't have the time and he didn't have the money to do it, so it probably wasn't going to happen. So he felt trapped, and he was saying sometimes he contemplated suicide because he was so unhappy because he wasn't doing what he was meant to do or what he wanted to do. That's huge right there. We need to hear that. Understand what that's like. I know what it's like to want to walk in front of a bus because you hate your job. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I got out of that job and got to the one I'm in now. So glory be to God for that. But that is what that is, and that's real life human flavor right there. You know, when you're doing something just because you have to do it, you had bills to pay, your back's against the wall, that's no fun. Oh, my time is drawing nigh. I gotta wrap it up. I got one more thing to talk about. The American and Families Plan proposal, $109 billion to fund the free community college initiative, $85 billion for Pell Grants and to make college more affordable for lower and middle income students, and $46 billion in investment for historically black colleges and universities and tribal colleges and universities, or TCUs and other minority serving institutions. We need all that. All those institutions need all that money. Let's level this playing field. There it is. My IPA of the week is a beaut. This right here, this Lake Erie monster. If you hip, you hip. If you ain't, get hip right now. Run out and get you some of this. It's seasonal. I got excited when I see it. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. A 4-pack of this is, it can be $12, $13 all day. But is it worth it? Yes, it is. It is. Let me get it right. I'm pretty sure. Where is it at? It's 9.5. So I almost said 9. It's 9.5% alcohol. Woo-wee. You gonna feel this. It's delicious. It's a heck of an IPA. It's one of my favorites. And I'm done. I know you heard that. That's empty. I'm your humble host, Phys Ed Music. This has been Urban Politics. I do it every week. You can check me out on YouTube. You can also drop me a line on, I'm on everything. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I am on TikTok. So holla at your boy. And once again, Urban Politics, where politics lives. See you around like a donut.